30 cents. That's what it costs to run 1,000,000 words of input through MiniMax M3, a model that just beat GPT-5.5 and Gemini 3.1 Pro on the hardest agentic coding benchmark we have. Not on a cherry-picked demo. On SWE-bench Pro, the test serious engineers actually trust. And here's the part that should get your attention. It's doing this at roughly 5 to 10% of the cost of the models it's beating. Let me show you the real numbers. Then I'll show you exactly how to start using it today. So let's talk about the problem first, because if you've never paid an AI API bill at scale, this might not land. The moment you stop using a chatbot in a browser tab and start building things, automations, coding agents, tools that call a model hundreds or thousands of times a day, the cost stops being a rounding error. GPT-5.5 through the API runs $5 per million input tokens and $30 per million output. That sounds small until your agent is reading code bases, retrying, and generating long responses all day. I've watched teams blow through $5,000 a month without doing anything exotic. The performance is great. The invoice is not. Here's the promise for this video. By the end, you'll know what MiniMax M3 actually is, you'll have the honest numbers on where it wins and where it doesn't, and you'll have a step-by-step setup so you can point your existing tools at it in about 10 minutes. No hype, no, this changes everything. Just the math and the method. So what is M3? It's an open-weight model out of China. Open-weight means the model itself is released. You're not locked into one company's servers the way you are with GPT 5.5. You can run it through API providers like OpenRouter or MiniMax's own API, and if you've got serious hardware, you can self-host it entirely. For most of you, you'll use a provider, and that's completely fine. Now the numbers, because this is the whole story. M3 costs 30 cents per million input tokens and $1.20 per million output. Compare that to GPT 5.5 at $5 in, $30 out. On output, which is usually the bigger chunk of your bill, that's 25 times cheaper. There's one catch you need to know, and I'll come back to it in the setup. If your input goes past 512,000 tokens in a single call, the price doubles to 60 cents in and $2.40 out. Still dramatically cheaper, but worth knowing, so it doesn't surprise you. Let me make that concrete with the benchmark. SWE-bench Pro gives a model real GitHub issues and asks it to actually fix the code, write the patch, make the tests pass. It's not trivia. It's the closest thing we have to can this thing do an engineer's job. M3 scores higher than GPT 5.5 and Gemini 3.1 Pro on it. So you're not trading quality for price here. On the workload that matters most for builders, coding, and agents, you're getting equal or better results for a fraction of the money. Okay, here's exactly how to start using it. Step 1. Get an API key. Go to OpenRouter, create an account, and generate a key. OpenRouter is the easiest on-ramp because it gives you one key that reaches dozens of models, M3 included. If you'd rather go direct, sign up at MiniMax's platform and grab a key there instead. Either works. Drop a few dollars of credit on it to start. Step 2. Point your tool at the model. Almost every AI coding tool and automation platform, your IDE assistant, your agent framework, your N8N or Make workflow, lets you pick a custom model and paste in a base URL and key. You'll set the provider's endpoint, paste your key, and select the MiniMax M3 model ID. If you're writing code yourself, M3 speaks the standard OpenAI-compatible format, so in most libraries you change 2 lines, the base URL and the model name. That's it. Everything else in your code stays the same. Step 3, and this is the one people miss. Watch the 512K input threshold. If you're feeding huge contexts, entire repositories, massive documents, keep an eye on where a single request crosses 512,000 input tokens, because that's where your rate doubles. For most jobs, you'll never hit it. But if you're doing whole code base analysis, chunk your inputs or keep them under that line and you stay at the lowest price. Set it once, and you're done. Let me give you the real example, because the percentage savings don't hit until you see a dollar figure. Take that team I mentioned spending $5,000 a month on GPT 5.5, running coding agents, processing tickets, generating code all day. Move that same workload to M3, and you're looking at around $350 a month. Same work, equal or better coding output on the benchmark that counts. That's roughly $55,000 a year that stops leaving your business. For a solo founder or a small team, that's a hire. That's runway. That's the difference between an automation being worth building and being too expensive to justify. And here's where I want to be honest with you. because that's the whole point of this channel. M3 is not the answer to everything. If you just want to chat with an AI in a browser, you're probably going to keep using whatever chatbot you already like, and that's fine. M3's edge isn't casual conversation. Its edge is cost at scale, and coding and agentic work specifically. So if you're a developer, an automation builder, or anyone running a model thousands of times a day, this is built for you. If you're writing the occasional email, the savings won't matter much. One advanced tip before we wrap, and this is how the smartest teams actually run it. Don't think of it as switch everything to M3 or stick with the premium model. Use both. Run M3 for the bulk, high-volume, agentic work, the part of the job that's reading, drafting, iterating, calling the model over and over. That's 90% of your token spend, and it's exactly where M3's price wins. Then, for the final critical step, the customer-facing answer, the production code that ships, the one output that has to be perfect, route that single call to a premium model if you want the extra polish. You get most of your bill running at 30-cent rates, and you only pay top dollar on the handful of calls that truly need it. That hybrid approach is where the real money is. Here's the result. You cut spend by 80 or 90% and barely touch your quality. So that's MiniMax M3. Cheap, open weight, and genuinely competitive on the benchmark builders care about. Get an OpenRouter or MiniMax key, point your tool at the model, watch the 5112K line, and run your heavy work through it. If this saved you money or you're about to test it, tell me in the comments what you're running it on. Coding, agents, something else. I read them, and it shapes what I cover next. I publish new AI tool breakdowns every Monday and Thursday, so subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.